The second thing we need to do with 9.3 part 1 is to talk about area. So we just finished talking about perimeter. Remember, perimeter was the distance around a figure. Area is a description of how many square units are inside a figure. Another way I could say it is it's the amount of surface covered by a figure. And we always report area in square units. So inches squared, centimeters squared, yards squared, and so on. And we're going to quickly review the basic area formulas, and then we'll do a few examples. I bet a few of these you have memorized already, but some of you probably don't. All right, shapes on the left, formulas on the right. First, rectangle. Rectangle, the area is length times width. We're going to use A for area in each formula. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, my bad. Now we should be good to go. All right, so area is length times width. Square. Square has all sides the same. So this side same as this side. The area is just side squared. You could also think of square as in length times width if you want to. Parallelogram. A parallelogram, the area is base times height. And now let me say a little bit about the base and height of a parallelogram. For all of your figures, parallelogram, trapezoid, and triangle, the base and the height are always perpendicular to each other. And that's really important because sometimes in a figure, they're going to give you some extra information that you don't actually need in order to find your area. So what you can always be confident on, though, is that the height and base of a figure will be perpendicular. And that works perpendicular. And that works for parallelograms, trapezoids, triangles. You know, and I could even say, some of you from middle school might remember a rectangle. Instead of length and width, your teachers might have used height and base. And again, height and base, that's fine. They're perpendicular to each other. That would also work. So parallelogram, base times height. Trapezoid. Trapezoid has two bases, and the height is perpendicular to both of them. So the top base we usually say is base 1, and the bottom base we usually say is base 2, and then the height again is perpendicular to the two bases. My trapezoid area formula then is area equals 1/2 times the height, and then times, and you add together the two bases. So area equals 1/2 times the height times the two bases added together. Next, triangle. The triangle formula, I bet you guys know this one, 1/2 times base times height. Sweet. And last but not least, the circle formula. The area is pi times the radius squared. So just like with the perimeter, you're going to get some easy questions where they might give you a figure and just say, find area. We want to focus here more on the more difficult questions that you might not remember from middle school and geometry. So our first example, I have actually a little sailboat here. And my sail is a triangle. I know that the area of the sail is 126 feet squared, and I know that the height of the scale I don't know actually. I'll just say height. I mean sail, not scale. And then the base of the sail is 12 feet, and that was given to us. So given, area is 126 feet squared, height is h, we're trying to find it, base is 12. So if my area, and it's a triangle, so if my area is 1/2 times my base times my height, we know that the area is 126. We know that the base is 12, and I do not know what the height is. So the reason I'm saying these are a little more confusing is that your variable is going to be not your area. Your variable is going to be somewhere else in your problem, and then you have to solve for it. For this one, it ends up being not too bad. I can take 1/2 times 12 and get 6. And then to figure out what h is, I just divide by 6, and I end up with 21. So the height of this sail is 21 feet. Feel free to pause if you need to, and make sure you write down questions too if you have any questions. I'm going to give you one to try next. I've got a little triangle here. It's an obtuse triangle. I know that this side is 5 and this side is 8, and then for some reason, and maybe for a good reason, they gave me this little information here, and this little part right here is 7 units. I'd like you to pause the video and see if you can figure out what the area of this is right now. Okay, if you have unpaused, the thing that I wanted to just point out with this problem, I'm trying to find the area. Area is 1/2 base times height. This time, the area I don't know, so that's my variable. But here's the thing I wanted to make sure we were clear on. Again, the height and the base have to be perpendicular. So 8 is not considered the height because it's not perpendicular to 5. 8 is making an obtuse angle with 5. So they'll give you this other information, and sometimes it juts outside the figure. And they'll give this to you in trapezoids, parallelograms, and other types of figures as well, not just triangles. But they'll give it to you if you need it to know what the base is. So the base is actually 7. And so your area should have been 17.5 units squared. We will be picky about writing down your labels for this section, so don't forget to write down your labels. All right, so we've just learned how to find perimeter and area, and that's it for our lesson today. Thanks for listening.